Germs. Today I'm here to do my December wrap-up. December is usually a slower reading month for me just because of the holidays and everything, but this year I actually had a particularly bad reading month because my mom was actually in the hospital for about half the month, so Andrew and I spent every single night there visiting her, and yeah, that took a lot of time, but obviously that was like a major priority, so that was way more important during this month. Thankfully she's home now, but she still has a long recovery ahead of her. That's what's happening with that. But anyway, I will get into the things that I was able to read this month. So the first book that I read in December was The 12 Days of Dash and Lily by David Levithan and Rachel Cohn. This is the second book in the Dash and Lily, I guess it's a duology. I'm not sure if they're going to be making any more books after this. But I was really excited to read this one because I really enjoyed the first one. I love Christmas, as you all know, and I love Christmas stories. So this one was a great way to start December and really get into like the spirit of things. I have to say that I didn't necessarily enjoy this one as much as the first book, but I did feel like this was a very realistic portrayal of how the relationship would progress. And I did really enjoy getting to be back with those characters and getting to see kind of where they are now, because we are definitely not always afforded that luxury, especially in contemporary romance novels. So I really did enjoy this one, and I ended up giving this 4 out of 5 stars. Then I read another contemporary novel, but this was an adult novel, and it is The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. I had watched someone's review, now I'm blanking on who it was, but they said that the writing in this was very similar to Rainbow Rowell, and it like evoked the same kinds of emotions that her novels do. So that's why I was so eager to read this one before anything else that I have sitting on my TBR already. So I ordered it and I did really enjoy it. I don't seem to have loved it as much as other people did. I thought that it was definitely a cute story. I thought that Lucy was very interesting. I thought that Josh was a big grump. So for those who don't know, this story follows a girl named Lucy and a guy named Josh, who are both co-assistants to the 2 CEOs of their company, because they each worked for a separate company, but their companies merged, and each one of them was the executive assistant to the CEO. So now they're both in the same role, and there's a new position that they're going to create that's going to be above both of their positions. So the 2 of them are vying for that job. They just have this relationship where they like hate each other, but then also they love each other because it's a contemporary romance. So it was really cute. I could definitely see this being a movie. Again, I didn't love it as much as other people, but I did understand why people do like it as much as they do, and I ended up giving this one a 3 out of 5 stars. Then I finally read The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. I'm so happy that I finally like have this book under my reading belt because I've been wanting to read it for years. I think that probably like the size of it was a little bit intimidating to me, and just the fact that so many people love it so much that I was very worried going into it that I wasn't gonna love it as much as other people and then I would be disappointed, and I just really didn't want to I just really didn't want that to happen to me because it's just such a beloved book, and I'm thankful to say that it didn't. I truly loved this book so much. I thought it was so unique and so interesting. It's a story that follows a girl during World War II. It's narrated by Death, and she's a girl that loves to read, hence The Book Thief, and it follows her like through her time during World War II, and it was just such a powerful read. Not a lot of people know this, but my family is of German descent, and both of my grandparents on my mom's side actually lived through the Holocaust in Germany. One of them actually even hid Jewish people in their attic, so that was really cool. But I've grown up my entire life hearing stories about World War II and just hearing all of the things that my grandparents went through, and the things in this book were so similar to the real life experiences that they have told to me my whole life. So in a way, I feel like this book helped me feel like even closer to my grandparents, because now when I get their stories, I'm hearing it through an older person's eyes reflecting, and this was about someone like going through it at the time. So it was just really interesting to make those comparisons and to just see like it's just such a horrible time period, and for anybody to have lived through that and to be able to like share those experiences is amazing. But then also like the power that words really had in this novel, it just like spoke to my heart, and I just loved it so much. It just blew all of my expectations out of the water. I really enjoyed it. It was really quick paced. I thought it was interesting that Death is narrating, but at the beginning of each chapter, he kind of tells you like already what's going to happen. So that was like very different. There wasn't a ton of surprises. You knew what was going to happen, so you knew what to expect. And I think it really speaks to how amazing the author did of writing this book, that he didn't need to like keep everything a surprise. Like he did a great enough job that even knowing what was going to happen, it was still just an amazing read. So yeah, really, really love this one. I ended up giving The Book Thief 5 out of 5 stars, obviously. Then I read Xmas by Kate Bryan. This is another Christmas contemporary romance story. It's really short, and I honestly read this in like a couple of hours, and you might find this hard to believe, but I'm actually a slow reader. So the fact that I was able to read this so quick, it just speaks to like what a quick story it is. But I thought that it was really cute. It follows a girl named Lila, and her parents are leaving for vacation, and she's planning on having this epic party at her house, but her little brother ends up tattling on her like right before her parents leave. So she leaves this newspaper story out saying that global warming is affecting the North Pole, because then her brother obviously draws from that, like he's able to conclude from that news story that, oh my god, Santa is in trouble, and what if he can't deliver presents and stuff. So then her little brother and her ex-boyfriend's little brother decide to run away together to try to help save Santa Claus. And then the only person that can help Lila is Beau, who is her ex-boyfriend. So the two of them have to go off on this kind of road trip to find their little brothers and to get them home safely before their parents come home and realize that their younger children were missing. So it was a really, really cute story. I really enjoyed it. It had like a really nice holiday feel, but it wasn't the best story that I've ever read, but it was cute, and it was like fun to read for a day. So I ended up giving this one 3 out of 5 stars. Next, I read Caravelle by Stephanie Garber. This book is so good. I loved it so much that I actually filmed a full video review for it, so that will be coming soon. I haven't posted it just yet because the book doesn't actually come out until the end of January, so I wanted to post it closer to the release date just so that it would stay fresh in people's minds when they're going to pick it up. But it was really just like so good. It follows 2 sisters named Scarlett and Tella, and the two of them have been dying to go to Caravelle, which is this like traveling interactive performance that's put on once a year. It doesn't travel anymore, but they've been writing to Legend, who is like the showrunner of Caravelle. And then like right before Scarlett's father has set up an arranged marriage for her, she finally gets a response from Legend, and she gets tickets to Caravelle for her, her sister, and her betrothed. So through some circumstances, her and Tella and another man named Julian end up at Caravelle, and the game, they remind you constantly that the game is not real and not to get swept away by Caravelle, because they have in the past had somebody who let that happen and they died during Caravelle. So you're reminded several times before you enter the game, you have the option of participating or being a spectator. But obviously, since this is like a once in a lifetime opportunity, they decide to participate in it. But it turns out that the whole premise of the game is that Scarlett's sister Tella was actually kidnapped. So everybody that's participating is trying to find Tella, and Scarlett, obviously the game becomes like very personal for her, and it's just so well written. Like, it's so magical. I wrote a written review also, which is posted on my blog, and I'll leave a link to that down below. But the word that I used in that was like that it's very sensory. You can just feel like you can feel the whole atmosphere perfectly. Like, Stephanie Garber has just mastered like describing the setting. You can smell the roses, you can taste the dark chocolate and the red wine. It's just amazing. Like, it really did sweep me away, and I was texting Alexa of Alexa Loves Books like while I was reading it, because I was like, oh my god, like what is real even. So it was just so good, and I really am so happy that I read this one. And I already pre-ordered a copy and a finished UK copy because I loved it that much. This is definitely a new favorite, and I obviously also gave this one 5 out of 5 stars. Then I read Shuffle Repeat by Jen Klein. And this book is another contemporary romance that I really, really loved. This was definitely my favorite contemporary romance of the month. You may have seen this in my top 10 contemporary books of 2016 video, which I already posted. I'll also leave a link to that down below. But I really, really loved this one. It's definitely a new all-time favorite contemporary romance. It follows a girl named June and a guy named Oliver, and their moms arrange for them to carpool to school every day together. So Oliver picks up June, but the two of them just do not agree on like a single thing. No matter what comes up, they just don't agree. And Oliver is somebody that is very enthusiastic. He's what you would call a joiner. He's so into high school. He loves it. He just wants to like participate and be present in everything that's going on and like make the most of every opportunity that he's given. Whereas June hates high school. She thinks it's a waste of time. She thinks that life doesn't start until after high school, and that anything that you do during that time period in your life doesn't really count for anything anyway. So she just doesn't care, doesn't care about going to things, doesn't really put any effort into anything high school related. So the two of them come up with this bet because they also hate each other's music, and the one thing that they decided on is that they'll listen to music in the car so that they don't have to argue. So each time that one of them comes up with a reason why high school is either important or unimportant, they're able to add one song to the playlist that they'll be listening to, and then each morning they will shuffle the playlist. Whatever the first song that comes on is, they'll click it and then repeat it for their entire drive. So it's really, really adorable. It was really fun to just see like both of their character arcs and the way that both of them changed throughout the story. I really appreciated the family element, and it was just really cute. It was really well done, really adorable. And the writer, Jen Klein, is actually a writer for Grey's Anatomy, so that might also entice you to pick it up. But it was really good, and I ended up giving this one 4 out of 5 stars. Then I kind of begrudgingly read the Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy by Cassandra Clare, Maureen Johnson, Sarah Reese Brennan, and Robin Wasserman. This book is so big, and I thought that I had read all of the Mortal Instruments, and I was like, ready for Lady Midnight, and then everyone was like, nope. There's this 700-page book that you need to read before you can read Lady Midnight, so I was like, ugh, figures, like that would happen. So I did really enjoy it. I love that it followed Simon. I'm not going to talk too much about it because if you haven't read the Mortal Instruments series, then there are like major spoilers in this book. Like any novella bind up, there were some stories that I really enjoyed and there were some stories that I really didn't enjoy. Again, I'll leave a link down below because I wrote like a little tiny review of each story in this book and posted that on my blog so you can see the ones that I really did like versus the ones that I didn't like. And overall I gave this one 3 out of 5 stars. And then finally, my last read of 2016 was Wayfarer by Alexandra Bracken. This was one of my most anticipated reads of 2017. I was so excited to get this one because Passenger was one of my favorite books of last year. Like I loved it so much. I was lucky enough to get an early copy of it, and I'm actually going to be interviewing Alexandra Bracken over the phone today, which I'm really excited about, and that will be posted on my blog as well. I'm not sure which one is going to go up first, this video or that interview post, so I will update it depending on what comes out. But I really enjoyed this one. This was the conclusion to Passenger because it's a duology and it follows Etta and Nicholas as they are still traveling through time and trying to like seize control of the astrolab and make sure that the timelines are intact. And again, don't want to say too much about it because I don't want to ruin Passenger for anyone who hasn't read it yet, but I really enjoyed this one. I thought that it was a really good conclusion to the series. I do wish that I would have reread Passenger before reading this because in the beginning I was trying to remember like just tiny details about certain characters. I did remember like the big things, but it would have been good to have like a little bit more of a refresher. So I really did like it. I did think that the beginning was a little bit slower than Passenger. I remember falling in love with Passenger like immediately, whereas this one it took me a little bit longer to get into the story, but I still did really like it. I thought that it was a really good conclusion, and I ended up giving Wayfarer 4 out of 5 stars. So those are all of the books that I read in December. I'm sorry that some of my videos are going up later than I had planned on. As I said in the beginning of the video, I had a very hectic month in December, and I do still have planned and have already pre-filmed a whole bunch of like end of year videos for 2016, beginning of year videos for 2017, and just a bunch of things that I really want to share with you guys, but it was too difficult to like handle everything going on with my mom and also have a consistent upload schedule. So I do apologize, but I should be back on track now, and I am really excited to share everything that I have planned as well. And also just for like 2017 in general, I'm so excited. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this. Let me know if you have read any of the books that I mentioned. I know lots of you have read The Book Thief and have told me in the comments like millions of times that you wanted me to read it. So I finally did it, and I'm so glad that I can say that and that I loved it so much. So again, let me know any of the books that you read, if you have any opinions on them, and anything that you're looking forward to reading in 2017. And I will see you guys soon with a new video. Bye!